Hey guys, welcome back to the Python networking class. Today we're going to finish up the TCP listener class. So we finished off with the client thread where we broke up the message into individual packets that the client would send to us, and then we added them back together and then sent that to the actual processing method. So next we are going to do the get TCP client. So this is a method that we do not want overridden, so don't override. And then we are going to go, so we pass in a socket, not a TCP client, we pass in a socket, and we're going to compare that to the socket in each TCP client in the client's list. So let's just write this out. So for client in self.clients, it's just going to take every client in the self.clients list, and then we're going to go if client.sock equals, so the client.sock, we haven't added that in yet, but it will be added in once we are finished. It's just, remember, over here, generate client object. This client sock is going to be passed into the constructor of the TCP client model, and that's going to be this sock right there. So then we're going to return a client if that works. So return client, not capital C, lowercase c, and otherwise we didn't find a match, so we're just going to return none. So next we're going to do the send method. This is somewhat the same as the receive method because we have to break it up into individual packets, so don't override. I didn't write that up there. So the way we're going to do this is, actually we don't have to do that right now. All we're going to go is client.send self.packet size. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Packet size message and then do encode. Message do encode. So we are going to do the breaking up in the client class in this method here. Not right now though. So that is send. Next we want to generate a client object. Remember, this is the thing that should be overridden because we want extended programs to actually override this class, inherit from it actually, and then override this method to generate a type of TCP client. So we're going to say recommended to override, but it's not necessary. So all we're going to do is we're just going to go return TCP client, client sock, and client address. So right now this is a placeholder because if they don't override this method, it will just return a default TCP client, which won't work in some cases. So next we just have the callbacks, which we actually don't have to do any coding for. So we're just going to go and hit override this. And then we want to go override this. And finally, override this. And then this is actually finally, sorry. Override this. If we go back here, we're going to look at where all the callbacks are. So when we did I put, oh, I never put the self.server started. So I need to add that up here to the run method. We're going to add that at the end. So self.server started. Remember, this is a callback. When the server is fully started, the program will call this function. So that is the first callback to the server started. The next is client connected. That happens when we actually get a client object. The third one is a client disconnected, which happens when there's either an error in the communication or this while loop ends if the message is none. If it's a none type, that means that the client sent nothing, so it disconnected. And then the last one is message received, and that happens when we actually get the whole message from the client. So yeah, that is the whole TCP listener class, 320 lines. That's probably mostly just the documentation here that I added. But yeah, so in the next video we'll be working on the TCP client model class. This should not be too long, but then after that we're actually going to be testing this and creating a test program in order to do that. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.